I'm Debbie.
I'm Deanna.
And I'm Mark.
And you're watching
Word of Mouth.
He takes out his tools and he covers over the cracks. All right, that's bad. It's wrong, but it's what a little man does. If I could have gone in there that day, I'd have told him, "John, come, Steve. We can afford it." But alone, he was afraid. But I know he meant no harm. He believed they'd hold up 100%. Now that's a mistake, but it ain't murder.
Tonight, I saw All My Sons by Arthur Miller.
It's a story of, I guess, a relatively uneducated, ordinary Joe Keller actually, who's living the American dream.
Joe owns a factory. The factory in the past made parts for airplanes for the war.
And he actually allows greed to take over. And the greed taking over permits him to sell defective parts.
He knew that they were faulty and didn't do anything about it, and a lot of people were killed in the war because these planes crashed because of the faulty parts.
And he's been living with this secret for all these years, that he knows that he really is responsible for the disaster that happened.
The story takes place, I guess, a few years after this, where he's basically condemned his partner to take the fall for the sins he and his partner committed in selling these defective parts. His partner is about to come out of prison. He has managed to escape prison by virtue of pinning the blame on his partner, and has continued to live the American dream. But what happens, as we see at this point, over the course of about 24 to 36 hours, which is really the duration of the play, is the American dream unravels and becomes a nightmare.
The one son, Larry, has died in the war. The other son, Chris, went to war, has returned home, and is working in the family business.
The relationship between Joe and Kate is not a very loving relationship at all. They, seem to fight a lot, and, he is Kate is convinced that the son is still alive, and she tries to believe that.
She refers constantly to articles where someone just came home who was found in Burma, or someone just came home who was lost somewhere else. So she is living with the hope that a mother would have, that her son is in fact alive and will one day come home to her.
Anne comes into the scene. Anne is played by Katie Holmes. She is the former girlfriend of the deceased son. And now the older son is one who wants to ask for her hand in marriage.
So it's kind of a controversy in the family because his mom doesn't, want to admit that, the son has died, so she doesn't really want to accept this at all, even though in the back of, their mind you can tell that they know.
Joe was played by John Lithgow, and he was terrific.
John Lithgow commands the stage.
He did such a great job. He was so real in this, it seems like he's been playing this part for a really long time. I've never seen John Lithgow on stage, so I thought he did a great job.
Of all the portrayals, I think Diane Wiest was the best. She was so legitimate, and she played the part with such incredible emotion that as a parent, now as a father, not as a mother, but nevertheless as a parent, I felt her pain.
I thought Diane Wiest was unbelievable. I thought her character, I was really drawn to her character more than any of them. You just really felt drawn to that character and really sorry for that character.
The only time I almost cried in this show was a scene with Diane Wiest where she was reading a letter about her son Larry when she comes to actually learn the truth about his death. And without reading it, just her body language, watching her reading it, hearing the sobs, I almost lost it.
I recognized Patrick Wilson from Angels in America, and I thought he did a great job too. I really did. I honestly thought everyone did a good job.
I had seen Patrick Wilson in several things, starting back with Full Monty, and was a big fan then. And through Angels in America, and even the movie Phantom, which he was in. I mean, I've seen him in Oklahoma and numerous things that I thought he was wonderful, and I've always enjoyed his performance too.
He is very sexy. Yeah, my eyes were definitely looking at him a lot of the time.
I think there was a lot of hoopla about Katie Holmes, and that's all I read about. Katie Holmes making her Broadway debut. And I think there's a lot to that. This is not the Katie Holmes my daughter knew from Dawson's Creek. This is a Katie Holmes who I think brought a certain versatility to the role. And she showed that she has a great deal of versatility and a great deal of talent.
I went to this not expecting Katie Holmes to do very well, and I thought she did great. I couldn't argue, against this. I thought she did really good.
I mean, I really had no expectations, and I was pleasantly happy and surprised and thrilled for her, because it was a wonderful moment for her. She held her own on stage with these pretty accomplished performers, and she held her own and did a wonderful job.
This is incredible drama. I mean, I've got to say that this is a classic case where the sum of the parts, where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And the parts ain't too shabby. These actors and their portrayals of the roles that they take on are just incredible.
I mean, it was amazing how quick this show really went, where your interest was captured the whole time. I didn't look at my watch once. There was no watch time, not even the thought of the watch in the show. It was really wonderfully performed. We enjoyed it tremendously.
I'm going to tell my friends that they need to go see this.
I would tell my friends to run to see it. Not to walk, but to run.
It's definitely not happy-go-lucky, you leave skipping and whistling and dancing down the street type of show. It's definitely a show that makes you think, that, really puts you through a lot of different emotions, and I think that that is just as good as seeing some, a happy musical.
If you're a theater lover, then you want to see this kind of acting. You want to be exposed to these kind of performers, because it'll make you proud to sit in the audience and buy a ticket. It's worth going to. I would recommend it.
I would say that anyone who's looking for something that's light, okay, go see something that's light, but also go see this, because this really brings some balance and perspective to your life and to entertainment in general. And this is a play which I'll remember for a long time. I had not seen it before. I did not read the book, but it really was something that I'll take away a lot from.
I tell my friends to go. And to go soon, because it's a limited run.
I would go see it again. I loved it.
He's coming back! Everybody's got to wait!
Mother!
Wait!
How long? How long?
Till he comes! Forever and ever till he comes!
Mother, I'm going ahead with it.
Oh, Chris, I've never said no to you in my life. Now I said no!
You'll never let him go till I do it.
I'll never let him go! And you'll never let him go!
I've let him go! I have let him go a long time.
Then let your father go!
She's out of her mind.